Respected Guruji, beloved Bhanudi, my dear friends, a very good morning to all of you. Before I start, I don't want to miss on the opportunity to thank you everyone, especially the organizers and volunteers, for making my stage so comfortable on campus. And my special thanks to Chetanshi Dev, if she is around. Without her, I will be lost in this campus. So I felt at home. So thank you so much. Now, the topic I want to talk about is working and nurturing by being natural. I'm a storyteller, but I'll try to be. I have only 5 slides, so only 5 slides, so I will not take more than 10 minutes probably. When I was a child, I had this secret desire. I wish I was a male child and not a female child. I had that secret desire for so many years when I was growing up. But as I was growing up, I started feeling, oh, I'm the chosen one. What a bliss to be a woman. And you can contribute so much to the entire world by spreading the smile, the peace, and the joy. So when my daughter was 17 days old, when I delivered her, 17 days old she was, I joined my first teaching assignment. There was a lot of opposition from all over, in-laws and parents. Why do you want to do that? She's just 17 days old. Opposition was not why I want to do that. Opposition was, what will society say? What will people say? You know, you're going to work. She's just 17 days old, and that too with the C-section. And I said, no, she will always be a small baby for me. And it's for her betterment. I need to have that exposure, and I need to be financially independent and go outside and work. And that was it. And I never looked back. I started the first teaching assignment, going back and forth in corporate as well as teaching. In India, now in Canada, Toronto, Canada, the journey has been immense. And I never ever realized till the time how many lives I have touched. When my students, they started getting back to me and said, this is what you said, which actually inspired us. Or this is where you helped us, and that's what inspired us. So when what my topic today is, what opposites do we talk about? I teach business. And in a capitalist society, teaching business, when you are on your spiritual path, is really, really challenging. Because sometimes you feel you don't believe in what you're teaching, but then you have to teach that. So how to keep that balance and how to keep that in harmony within itself so that I can convey that to my students. So that's the approach I want to discuss. I want to share with all of you, because we have been talking about education, education, and education. So my slides will walk you through how I educate, how I touch so many lives every semester, year after year, even when I was in the corporate as a corporate trainer. What was my approach to embed into the business from the spirituality? First slide, please. Now, opposites for me, they always coexisted. Always. When I think of complaint, why do we complain? Why don't we just pay gratitude for what we have? If we start thinking, and yesterday also in one of the conversation, Mrs. Khanna mentioned about that, if we pay our gratitude, life becomes so much easier, so much easier. When we don't complain, that negative per se element do not exist. We talk about compassion, we talk about authority, we talk about collaboration. These are the words I use in my classes because I teach business and human resources. But the idea here is these are opposites, but they coexist. They coexist in our personal life as well as in the professional and business life. Recently, for example, meaningless and meaningful. What does it mean? I lost my 27 years old nephew on Christmas night. And I went into my class, it was January the 6th. And I was in so much pain inside. And I was talking to my student and talking about 6 degrees of separation, having them do that ice breaking, and I said, what do you know about me? And a few students, they're undergrad students, they came forward and then they said, you're a happy person by default. So that simply came because I could maintain that harmony in opposites. And that harmony for me is happening because I have started living in the knowledge. I've started practicing knowledge each and every day, little bit here and there. So living in knowledge is helping me to be natural more and more every day. And there is just the love. And I feel connected with each and every one. Next slide, please. Another main thing happened in my life. You may say challenge, I say experience. I don't say it was a challenge, though literally it was. In 2005, when I was about to be 40, 2 years here and there, I decided to migrate to Canada. People were left, right, and center. Oh, you're well settled here. You have such a luxurious life. You have all domestic help. There you will have to do everything by yourself. Why do you want to leave the country and go to Toronto? I said, no, I want to explore. I want to explore the world. And again, it was for my daughter. I decided to give her another exposure if he wants to stay there. So we went there, 2005, in 2 suitcases, started living in a basement apartment. And I was looking at my daughter and I was saying, if she can adjust, why can't I? And that reminded me when Smriti ji yesterday said about 3 days old child. And similar stories. So I said, if she can survive, why can't I? So journey starting from scratch when I migrated to Canada, scratch, finding jobs here and there. Somebody is saying, why don't you go and do work in a factory here and there? All from long story short, I went back to school and people are saying, you have a terminal degree, you have a PhD. Are you sure you want to go back to school and do a certification? I said, it's not about degrees. Education is not at all about degrees. It is all about the human values. How much we carry, how much we observe, and how much we can actually spread around the world. It is just not about degrees. So then I started working, and then in 2008, as a part-time, I joined Humber College. And 2011, I joined Humber College as a full-time faculty. Amazing experience so far, in spite of the challenges there. Now, in terms of art of living, my daughter was 3.5 years old when I wanted to do my first course. And now she's 24. And I did Art of Living basic course in 2011. And since then, I'm on fast track. I recently completed my blessing course and pre-TTC. So, because I was already so late, always on back of my mind, there would be, I want to go and join, I want to do. But one day I was listening to Guruji's sermon, and he goes, when you're raising your kid or your children, that is also seva, that is service. So I thought maybe this is not the right time for me. I should just focus on what I'm doing. So 2011, when I joined Art of Living, there was no looking back. I wish I could do that for my personal, professional growth, just to be in harmony. I wish I could do that, but that was my time. And I did that. Now, in terms of job and community involvement, when I went to Canada and there was so much challenge, I started giving back to the society. I work on an organization called TRIAC, Toronto Region Immigration Employment Council. And when any newcomer comes to the country, they actually match his or her CV resume with a mentor. So I am in their mentoring partnership program, I approached them and I said, this is my time to give back to the society, and I would like to have female mentees, because it's so much a little more difficult for females to make their transition smooth as compared to male members wherever we are. So up till now, since 2008, I joined them, and I think I've worked with more than 10 mentees so far, and try to make their life a little smoother, their transition a little smoother when they come to Canada. I've started involving myself in our I Meditate movement. That's kind of a project I took as my pre-TTC thing, and my friend Kalpana Parikh, she also works with me on that. So that's about, so far, it's not much, but in terms of giving back to the society, as I said, I am juvenile. I've just started my journey on that. Next slide, please. In terms of nurturing and working, what I learned so far from my story, nurturing starts at home. For me, it started at home. My mom was a housemaker. She was just high school pass, but she made sure I become financially independent. She made sure I go to university and get my qualification and start working, because now I realize she's not with me, she's in the spirit world, watching over me from there. But now I think why she did that, because she might be having something in her heart and say, this journey, what I have lived, should continue, but in a better way. So she made sure I went to school and whatever she could do for me. And I made sure, I go one step beyond what my mom did. I went one step beyond for my daughter. So nurturing always starts at home. And I am so convinced with this. Smriti ji was talking about rape. I am so convinced with this. We held a silent protest in Canada in regards to that rape case. And the only thing I could say is, teach your male members the way we teach our female members. So if journey starts at home, it becomes so much easier for kids to absorb, because they learn by observing, and then they absorb, and then they go in the world and disseminate that information. Next slide, please. Now this is what my entire classroom look like. If you look at this picture, you would see the entire world is sitting in one classroom. In terms of race, ethnicity, in terms of color, right? In terms of gender, in terms of gay, straight. So you see entire world is sitting in one classroom. So I think if I myself is not in harmony, I will not be able to connect with any of them. And I'm able to do so because I myself is now with knowledge in harmony, so that I connect with them, all of them, doesn't matter. So I find the true meaning of unity in diversity, true meaning of. Sometimes I don't understand their accent, sometimes they don't understand my accent, but language has never ever become a barrier. And I get students from all over the world. So my message today in terms of education is, we don't have to do it at bulk, especially for a person like me who have just started my journey in terms of community development, involvement and giving back. Just touch one soul at a time. Just touch, and that lifts the consciousness so very well, and that's exactly what we need to do. And being women, we are the chosen ones, and we can do it in a very subtle but very profound way. Thank you so very much.